Hello and welcome to Electric Bike Report. My name is Pete and this is the Yuba Electric Supermarché front loader cargo bike in for testing and review. This is a pretty versatile cargo bike that can handle up to 300 pounds of total cargo load. It's 220 pounds on the front and 80 on the back. The front bamboo box that you see here is an add-on accessory, as well as the seat kit for 2 kids to sit on the front. There's also the option for a kid's seat on the back, so you can have a total of 3 kids riding on this bike. It's pretty amazing. It's definitely a very interesting car alternative or car replacement. Yuba offers a lot of different accessories for this bike, so you can really dial it in to, really suit your needs as best as possible. Then there's the low step-through area, makes getting on and off this bike very easy. The Bosch Performance Line CX mid-drive motor, the enviolo CVT rear hub, Magura brakes, Schwalbe tires, just a solid spec of quality componentry. The bike retails for $5,999, and there are the optional add-on accessories. This is a video overview, so it'll give you an idea of what the bike is like, but you can check out the full review at electricbikereport.com. So with that, let's get into the details. Okay, so let's take a look at the cargo area first. So there's a number of add-on accessories that you see here. The first one is the bamboo baseboard. So if you were to ignore the box that's built here and just look at the baseboard, that provides a really flat platform to attach boxes and other large items, and you can strap those down. And then you do have the bamboo box that provides little additional structure to store multiple items like groceries and such here in the front. And then you've got the seat kit where 2 kids can sit. It's got a padded place for them to sit, as well as the seat belts. And then there's the rain cover, and then there's the soft-sided box structure too. So a lot of different options for the front cargo area, and that again can handle 220 pounds. And then on the back here is the rear rack that's really built into the overall frame structure, and it has attachment points for the kids seat, so you can carry 1 kid on the back and 2 in the front. It's pretty amazing. And then it's also got just a really good platform for attaching other things like boxes and such if you need to. Alright, so let's take a look at the front of the bike here. So first of all, you've got the head tube area. Has very large tubes connecting there to provide the platform for the front cargo area. Nice thick aluminum welds here. And then this is really interesting, is the steering system for the front wheel. So at the top of the steel fork here is a pulley system, and there's 2 cables on each side of the pulley. And if we follow those cables down here below the frame, you can see they run along here to another pulley that is at the base of the steering column. So then following that up, you've got the handlebar area here. So as you turn the handlebars, it turns this pulley that has those same cables attached to it, and so those cables are pulling on the front fork pulley to steer the front wheel. So it's a very smooth and just a cool system. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the frame details. First of all, this is the steer tube here where the handlebar is. And then you've got the connection point of the down tube to the steer tube here. Just very large aluminum tubing, thick welds. And then on the front of the steer here, you've got the frame for the front cargo area. And you can also see, just solid connections, just large aluminum tubing there. And then there's also this bolted connection. There's a bolted connection on either side of the steer tube there, and then similarly down here as well. So what that's doing is basically tying together the front cargo area and front wheel to the back of the bike here. So yeah, pretty interesting how they built that. And then another detail, the gusset here at the cargo area, just a nice connection for definitely a high stress area for the cargo weight there. And then also down here, normally a kickstand isn't very exciting, but on the Electric Supermarché, this is very important. It's just a very wide and stable kickstand, which is very helpful when you're carrying a heavier cargo load for sure. So then zooming out a little bit here, you can see the Bosch PowerPack 500 lithium battery mounted to the back of the seat tube there. And then just the very low step-through area. This is about 18.5 inches from the ground to the step-through area, and it's just very easy to get on and off this bike. It's definitely a nice thing when you're carrying a lot of cargo load. Some of the details, you can see just the connection point there for some extra strength. Then the Bosch Performance Line CX mid-drive motor, the motor mount there, and then gusset here at the seat tube area. And then the rear rack that's really just built into the overall frame provides a very solid structure, can handle up to 80 pounds of cargo load. So let's take a look at the drive system. So first of all, you've got these large aluminum platform pedals. They have a nice solid feel to them. And then this is the Bosch Performance Line CX mid-drive motor. Now, this is typically found on electric mountain bikes because it has a bit of additional torque, and that helps for riding on technical terrain, getting started on steep hills and such. But that actually works really well for the Electric Supermarché because with the extra cargo load, the additional torque really helps to carry that load. And this motor is rated at 250 watts of power. It has a peak power of 600 watts and peak torque of 75 Newton meters. So it's definitely a nice ride feel. It has the torque, cadence, and speed sensor system. So it really is an intuitive ride feel. And yeah, just, definitely handles a lot of the cargo load requirements of the Electric Supermarché. And then that drives back to the enviolo continuously variable transmission rear hub here. Now this is an internally geared rear hub, but instead of specific gear ratios, it has basically from the low to the high, and it's just the spectrum that can be dialed in with the grip shifter on the handlebar. And it's a very intuitive system once you get used to it. It's just you really dial in exactly what gear ratio you want to be in with the grip shifter. And the nice thing is that it can be adjusted when you're pedaling or not pedaling. So if you come to a stop and you need to get that best gear ratio, you can just quickly adjust it without having to pedal. And that's a really handy feature on an electric cargo bike where you may be carrying a lot of cargo and you really want to be in the best gear to get started from a stop. So here's a look at the Magura MT5 hydraulic disc brakes. These are very powerful brakes and a great fit for the Electric Supermarché when carrying heavier cargo load. There's 180 millimeter rotors on the front and back, and yeah, these also have a nice bit of modulation. You can really vary the amount of braking power from just a little bit to moderate amounts to full stop, and that's definitely a nice thing when carrying varying amounts of cargo load. All right, so here's a closer look at the Bosch PowerPack 500 lithium battery. It's mounted just behind the steer tube here, and a nice central location, relatively low, and it's pretty well protected by the frame tubing itself. So this is a 36 volt, 13.4 amp hour lithium battery pack, around 500 watt hours. You can see here the lock at the top, and then down here at the bottom, this is a battery level indicator. So when you push that button, you can see the battery level. You can also see the battery level on the display on the handlebars. This is the charge port that's protected by a rubber cover there. You can charge the battery on the bike or when it's been removed from the bike. Here's a look at removing the battery pack. Unlock it with one of the supplied keys. There's two supplied. And then it pulls out of the frame just like that. Here's a look at the top mount and then the bottom mount and the battery pack itself. And a look at the top and then the bottom connection point. And then to reinstall, basically the same in reverse. Connect it to the bottom and then the top, click it into place, take the key, and you're set to go. Okay, so here's a look at the Bosch charger, and then it's plugged into the bottom of the frame mount, so you can charge the battery while it's on the bike. Charging time is about 2 hours to 50% charge, and about 4.5 hours to 100% charge. Alright, so here's a look at the battery removed from the bike, and the charger plugged into the bottom of the battery pack. Okay, let's take a look at the handlebar area. So on the left side, this is an ergonomic grip, has a bit of a wing here to provide wrist support, has a nice stable ride feel. Magura hydraulic disc brake lever for the front brake here, and then the Bosch control pad. The plus and minus buttons adjust the pedal assist levels, and then you've got the I button to cycle through information on the display. Okay, so let's take a look at the Bosch Intuvia display. So first of all, you've got your battery level, your pedal assist level, and your current speed, and then this is the information area. So with that I button on the control pad, cycle through, you got max speed, your average speed, your trip time, your range. And this is a really interesting feature. It's an estimated range. So right now it's showing nothing because the pedal assist level is in the off position. So as we go to Eco, which is the lowest pedal assist level, what it's doing is it's calculating that you have this much battery capacity, and then this is your pedal assist level, and it's also studying what kind of terrain the bike has been riding over recently. So as you go up to Tour, to Sport, to Turbo, it's adjusting the estimated range based on those pedal assist levels and the terrain the bike's been riding over. So pretty cool, because it really helps to analyze how much range you have left for the riding that you've been doing. So really nice feature just for when you're out and about. If you need more range, you can dial back the pedal assist if you need to. So but yeah, a lot, and then we'll keep cycling through. Then you've got your odometer, your trip distance, and then back to the clock. So a lot of good info there. There's also the light button here, and this turns on the front and rear lights that are running off of the e-bike battery. And then you can turn the display off, and then you can remove it. There's a little tab on the mount here that you just push that down, and the display comes off. And then to reinstall, just click it back into place. Okay, on the right side of the handlebar, we've got the bell, the Magura hydraulic disc brake lever for the rear brake, and then this is the enviolo continuously variable transmission grip shifter. So as I was mentioning before with the CVT, it's pretty cool because it's just this wide spectrum of gear ratios. There's really no set gear ratios. And what's neat is that, depending on the terrain that you're riding on, you can see in this display here where you are in the gear ratio spectrum. So right now it's in the hill climbing area, and then if we were going to be riding on flatter terrain, you can see it flattens out as you get to that other end of the range. And what's really nice is that you don't have to be pedaling to change the gear ratio. So let's say you came to a stop and you were, in the flatter terrain part of the gear ratio, but to accelerate from a stop, you want to be in a little bit lower end so that you can, get off the line. Let's say you're carrying some heavier cargo, and then you can really just adjust it to the speed that you're going. So it's a really nice feature to be able to adjust that, without pedaling, and that especially helpful with a cargo bike. Right over here is the ergonomic grip on the right side too. So let's take a quick look at the overall ride position. The handlebars are relatively flat and slightly swept back with a little bit of rise to them. The stem is adjustable, so you can see that there's a adjustment point there. So you can adjust the reach and the height of the stem, and then you can see that there's a lot of spacers here on the steer tube. So you can adjust the position of the stem up and down by just swapping out, where it is in that spacer stack. So a lot of adjustability for the handlebar area. And then similarly with the seat post, there's a lot of variability there too. The Electric Supermarché is designed to fit riders between 4'9" to 6'5", and for the taller riders there is an optional longer seat post that can be installed. But one of the cool things is that, with the adjustability of the handlebar area, the seat area, and the low step through, you can see that it fits a wide variety of riders, and that can be really helpful, especially when maybe a couple wants to share this bike as sort of the family bike overall. But and then here's a look at the Yuba seat. This is a Velo Comfort seat that has a kind of a medium width profile to it, and so it's kind of in between a comfortable saddle and a saddle built for an efficient ride. So here's a look at the Schwalbe Big Apple Plus tires. These are a 20-inch by 2.15 inches wide, and they have a nice wide tread patch, pretty stable ride feel, with some channeling to dissipate water and reflective stripes on both sides of the tire to add a little extra visibility when you're out riding at night. So let's take a look at some of the accessories that come stock on the Electric Supermarché. This is the AXA Blue Line 50 LED headlight that runs off of the Bosch e-bike battery. Also the aluminum fenders that are full coverage fenders both on the front and rear wheel. And here's a look at the rear aluminum fender, full coverage fender, and the AXA Blue Line taillight that runs off the e-bike battery. Here's a frame detail. These are tabs where a lock can be inserted through the rear wheel so that it locks the rear wheel from moving, so that no one rides away with your bike when you're maybe running a quick errand into a store. Okay, so that is the video overview of the Yuba Electric Supermarché. Make sure you check out electricbikereport.com for the full review, and that includes a bunch of detailed pictures, specifications, ride characteristics, range test results, pros, cons, and overall thoughts. All electricbikereport.com.